All right, so we're now a couple days into Q2. So now I'm gonna just do a new batch of analysis videos for you guys, give you guys some things to watch out for on your charts. And we're gonna start with Bitcoin. So since my last Bitcoin video, I talked about the 3-month and the monthly chart being very special. I was looking for either the monthly imbalance or the 3-month to be the one that gives us the next big move. Since price has been dropping to these 85, 84, 83 levels, it just hasn't really been that surprising for me, just based off of the structure. But now that Q1 has ended and we got that candle closure, now is when we really need to pay attention to where price is likely going to go next. All right, take a look at this 3-month chart and look at the current candle, right? Our Q2 candle that just opened. Take a look at where it opened. Right now, if I was just to ask you a simple question, where do you think that candle would go first? Do you think it would go below the previous quarter's low or above the previous quarter's high? All right, and not speaking from a bias standpoint, just based off of where price currently is it closer to the low or the high of the previous candle? Obviously it's closer to the low. Okay, and ideally I'd want it to go underneath the previous candle's low to offer fair value to this imbalance right here, and then from there get that push higher to external liquidity. That's exactly what happened back here in the quarter of July of 2024. So we had a very similar candle, we had a very nice gap, price drops down, and in the same quarter we close outside of that imbalance, and then the next quarter is when we got that follow through. Okay, it would not surprise me if price does something similar this time around. All right, with the sentiment right now, tariffs, just everything piling up, the stock market dropping, I just don't see Bitcoin going up in the near term. All right, I personally see us still going below Q1 low. And I talked about this in the last video, right? I gave you guys levels to watch. If the monthly isn't going to move price higher, then price is likely going to move off of the 3-month. All right. And so this is what I'm seeing right now. I expect price to drop below Q1's low at 76,600. It's actually going to go a little lower if this plays out. It's going to be closer to 73, the high 73,000s. All right. And I'll show you why I say that in just a second. All right. I'm going to hop down to the monthly and let you take a look at this. So this is what we were talking about in the last video. We had this monthly area right here. I'm going to make this red. We weren't seeing a bullish reaction off of this level. So we had a test of it in January, but this was not a true test. It was really February that we got that real test. We closed inside. March didn't give us a bullish response out of this area. We just, again, played around inside of the imbalance pretty much the entire month, closed inside. And now here we are in April. And now take a look at April's candle in relation to March. We are inside the range of March's high and low. All right. So with that being said, this is a very high time frame and inside bars are extremely rare. It's April that I expect us to either break out below the previous month's low or the previous month's high. Because of the liquidity that sits below March, I am inclined to believe that we will drop down here before attempting to go higher, going after a new all-time high above 110,000. All right. Now, some other reasons for us to go down here are going to be on the daily chart, but I'll start with the weekly. I talked about this imbalance here last video about Bitcoin, how we had a really nice reaction when we first tested this area. But if you take a look, the very next week, we basically just filled in all of the supporting price that we got from this wick. Okay, that was a bearish signal. Didn't look good for higher prices, and from there we just kind of consolidated, letting me further know that this weekly imbalance, it's just not strong in terms of doing its job. Again, giving me the idea that price wants to go lower into some form of liquidity that can really support price. All right, and i.e. that would be the 3-month that sits right underneath this 76,600. But if you go to the daily, this is where things start to get interesting. This is why I say we'd be tapping into the high 73,000s. Take a look at how balanced price is right here. Look at this right here. This daily gap, which was reached into, it's about 4.5% in terms of size, right? I'm just doing it based off of percentage. In terms of size, it's about $3,600, a little over $3,600, right? We see that price did tap into that. The one right below it, it's a little smaller, at 4.3%, about $3,300. You can see that price also reached into this. But take a look at this. This is a larger inefficiency at just at 5%, all right, about 5.5%, and we have not tapped into that yet. It sits right inside our 3-month area of inefficiency. When we have an area that's larger than these two above it that has not been reached into, this to me serves as a magnet. I really do believe that price will not only just tap into 76,300, but we will go down into this daily area of inefficiency at 74,479, which sits right there. And if you look at everything behind this, it's all balanced, right? All of this has already been balanced. So this to me is the last stand for support. Just under 74,000 is our last stand for a quality support. I'm not gonna say, like, of course we have support down at 50,000 and whatnot, but this to me is quality support. If I hop back up to the 3 months and just show you, if we don't hold that area in red, we will likely go back and revisit the fair value swing low, which sits here at $49,577 on the current chart that I'm looking at. Okay, some other charts will vary there, but we've already offered fair value to this imbalance. So if we're coming back down here, then that means we're still seeking sell side liquidity, which means we will go below this swing low and potentially even lower into this area of inefficiency here. At that point, I would consider it an Armageddon situation where your altcoins are going to be beyond decimated. I mean, that's not even a word I would describe their performance if we don't hold this area in red. And again, this is derived from the 3-month chart because we have an imbalance here going all the way down to the daily where there is a much smaller inefficiency there that has not been tapped into yet. Okay. Ideally, I want to see price again reach in and spend very little time in here. So you can see how on this quarter we went into that area and just bounced. Okay, leaving a wick. We closed outside of the gap. That's ideally what I want to see here if we choose to test this area. Even better, we could just leave this open and just start shooting higher. But based off of the sentiment right now, okay, based off of the tariffs, based off of the stocks having their worst performance in the past 2 years, I expect price to drop on Bitcoin and to see these areas of dynamic support and see if we can hold it. So that's going to be what I'll be watching over this next quarter. Okay, especially on the daily. I'll be watching this from a daily and weekly perspective, seeing if price can hold this area. All right, that's really all I have for Bitcoin. You do not want to lose. You don't want to lose this 74,000. All right, we can color outside the lines a little bit, right? Shoot past it a little bit, but returning back to this swing low way back here of August of 2024. That's just not going to be good as far as a quality uptrend. All right, so that's all I have for you guys on Bitcoin. I have other updates coming out as well. Check those out on HBAR, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin. I will have one on Dogecoin as well, and I haven't forgot about Matic. So I hope you enjoyed this. Just keep an eye on Bitcoin, and I will see you in the next one.